Hi everyone, it's time for another Animal Facts Day, and today I have blue feigning death beetles. Now, as you can already see from holding up, one of them is living up to its name. When these guys get scared, they actually will play dead, and they will flip over and show their stomach. That's part of how they get their name, feigning death beetle. What happens is out in the wild, a lot of things like to eat these guys, particularly tarantulas and scorpions. Well, both tarantulas and scorpions like to hunt for live food, and so when they play dead, the tarantulas or the scorpions no longer find them interesting. So they just flip over onto their backs, and they will stay that way, sometimes upwards of 30 minutes, but usually it's just for a few minutes or so. Now, they also get part of their name blue because of the color that they are. They get that color because their body produces this waxy coating that covers their entire exoskeleton, which basically seals in moisture. These guys come from the Sonoran Desert. That's the southwest United States, so it can get very hot and very dry. So if you're living in a desert, you have to find a way to conserve water, and they do it by coating themselves in wax. Now, as you can already see, they're not very good climbers. These guys can't climb up glass or anything like that. They even have a hard time hanging onto my hands. So I have to be really careful, especially this one likes to do a lot of walking. This one's just kind of barely moving, and this one's still playing dead. I assure you it's not dead. It was moving around before I picked him up, and then he flipped over to try and tell me that, hey, I'm not a piece of food. So what's really cool about these guys is that they do have a couple different common names. One of them is the blue feigning death beetle. Another is the iron desert beetle, and sometimes they're also called the ironclad beetle. They have the ironclad because of a couple different reasons. One, their exoskeleton is super, super hard. It's so hard, in fact, that their wings are actually fused into their exoskeleton, so they can't fly like a lot of beetles. And the other is they kind of look like the ironclad warships of the early 1900s. So a couple different reasons that they get that name. Now, because they have so many different common names, a lot of times we refer to insects by their scientific name. I love scientific names because I took Latin, they're really, really fun to say, and they usually have a meaning behind them. So these guys are Asbolus verrucosus, which basically means sooty and warty. So sooty is kind of like the color of their exoskeleton, and then warty is because you can see it, they have these ridges of bumps along them. Now, being that they're in a desert area, it's really, really hard to come by food. So these guys are kind of what we call detritivores, just like a lot of beetles, which means that they're going to be eating dead or decaying matter, basically anything that they can find. So these guys will eat rotted fruits and vegetables. They will also eat any dead or decaying animals that they find. They can live off of all kinds of nutrients. Now, they are very, very specific beetles. They don't like to lay their eggs unless their substrate is 100% exactly the way that they want it. So sometimes they're a little hard to breed in captivity, but they do very well as pets and also in zoos and insectariums. And some people are figuring out how to breed them. They're just a very, very particular kind of beetle. It's called a darkling beetle, so they're related to mealworms. So if you guys have shopped for insects to feed your reptiles, you've probably come across mealworms. So these guys are related to them. They have extremely strong jaws. Most beetles do because of the different types of things that they have to eat. But because these guys are detritivores, we don't really have to worry about them biting us. They don't really want to bite a lot of live food. That's going to be too much effort for them to go ahead and try and kill something. They'd rather take down something that's already deceased. So they're a very, very cool beetle. You can barely feel them crawl on you. Right now we've got the one who's super active again, and then we got the one that's kind of active, and he's now trying to roll over his buddy that was playing dead. So just to reiterate, he's not dead. He's playing dead. He was active. As soon as I touched him, he flipped over and did what blue feigning death beetles do best, and that's play dead. So I hope you guys learned something cool about beetles. Learn that they're absolutely harmless. These guys are great for the environment. Any type of beetle basically is great for the environment for the most part. Majority of them are detritivores, so again, they're breaking down all kinds of material, and then when they go to the bathroom, that broken down material and their waste product helps provide nutrient for the soil. So these guys are really like sometimes the corner of ecosystems. So they're very, very important, play an awesome role. And I also think they're kind of cute. Not a lot of people find insects cute, but these guys have something about them. So I hope you learned something cool today, and we will see you next time.